वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की fateh. Thank you, Sangat Ji, for attending our weekly discourse at Sangat of Divine Light. Throughout the discourse, please keep focused to your Shabad Mantra, to your meditation, focusing in your breath. As we go on a beautiful journey, as we travel through the messages that Guru Nanak's given to us, as a sacred scripture the Guru Granth Sahib Ji has given us, and identifying how we can find our true home that's within us all. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji has informed us that we have an external existence and an internal one. We are unique. We've been created in such a unique form. There's a part of us that's external, and there's a part of us that's internal. Just as we take one breath in and we take another breath out, there's an element of us that's internal, and there's an element of us that's external. We have a complete world that's inside of us, and then we have a world that we're enjoying that's outside of us. The scriptures have informed us this, that whatever can be experienced in the external world can also be experienced within us. Everything can be found deep within ourselves. The whole expanse of the universe can be experienced, can be seen, can be understood within us. As the Guru Granth Sahib Ji has told us, Jo Brahmanda soi pinde, jo khoja so pava. Whatever can be seen in this universe is also deep within us. And those that search for this truth will find it, will obtain it. The thing is, Sangat Ji, we have such knowledge of our external existence, but the internal one's a massive secret. We are aware of our external existence. And to that end, we've created hospitals, we've created gyms for our physical health. We've created all sorts of engagements and entanglements and attachments to engage our mind. And then to satisfy the needs of our intellect, we've created all sorts of knowledge, doctrines, universities, rationalities, learning establishments, just to develop our intelligence. But the one thing that remains a mystery is how to keep this soul happy. Firstly, finding this soul within us. Then working out what's causing our happiness and our unhappiness. What are the reasons for our contentment and discontentment? Despite having everything in this world, that final question seems to be missing an answer. And at some point we must realize that everything that we're seeing in the external, all those things that we've tried, are not going to provide those answers to us. Those answers won't be found in this physical, external world. We're aware of who our family is. We know who we want to hang around with, and we know who our friends are. We know who our relations are. But we know very little about this external relationship, this internal relationship, this internal existence, and this internal family that's deep within us. And likewise, when we go out for the day, we kind of know how we're going to get back home. We know what route we're going to take. We know if there's some roadworks on a road, we might avoid that way of coming home. We'll try and find the quickest way home. But deep within us, there's a true home, a Nijgar. And that route, that travel is something we've forgotten. We've forgotten how to travel deep within. And we've forgotten this because of what's known as the false illusion of Maya. This whole external vision, this external understanding, everything that we see, everything that we can perceive is what's known as Maya. Maya is simply a forgetfulness. But anything that takes us away from the divine, even the most subtlest of thoughts, is Maya. The external world that we rely on has been described many times as an illusion. And within this illusion, we're totally asleep, totally unaware of what our true potential is, of that true home that lies within us. And in this illusion, in this Maya, we go about our day creating these false relationships for false interactions and connections. We think these are going to last for forever. We feel that our parents will always be there to support us. We feel that our children will care for us in our time of need. We feel that our friends will always be there to lend a helping hand, to do us that favor in our highs and lows. We feel that the external will always be constant. This world will always exist. We take pride in our abilities and our body. We take pride in all of our achievements. We constantly look at ways to involve this body and look to how we can satisfy our basic needs, how we could develop our sensory pleasures. And then, Sangatji, we kid ourselves. We say that we'll find time for spirituality later on, and many times I've heard this. Many people will say, oh, this is the time to enjoy. We only live once, and later on in life I will develop my time, I'll devote my time to spirituality at that stage. Sangatji, that time doesn't come. No matter how much we think, that time will not come. And as the scriptures, as Bhai Sahib Ji has also reminded us many times, let us not waste time before it wastes us. Because this whole existence is just a massive cloud, a grey cloud. This is a massive fogginess in this external existence. Sacha manya kahe vichar. Guruji is saying, who told you this was truth? This is all an illusion, this is a darkness, this is a fog, this is nothing that's real. It will all go up in smoke one day. Sacha manya kahe vichar. Who told you this was true? And we put so much effort in obtaining this wealth, obtaining this education, in trying to get ahead in this rat race. But when that time comes to meditate, Bure kaam ka oot kholoya, naam ki bella pe soya. When that time to meditate comes, Guruji is saying, we are fast asleep in that slumber of the world. But give us something that will entice this Maya, this illusion within us, and we're running to it. And in this way, we're going through life without truly living. And we go through life thinking we've developed all these life experiences, but Guruji is saying, no. All you're doing is carrying around a whole load of baggage. All these perceptions, all these entanglements, all these desires that we're collecting, it's a whole load of baggage that we're going to take into our next experiences. And we call that experience. We call that life experience. No. It's just weighing us down. The one truth is that everyone in this world will one day have to leave. Everything that we see in this world will eventually be destroyed. Everything that we think is real will eventually disappear. Everyone we look for that support will eventually let us down one by one. Our parents, our friends, our spouse, our work, none of these will support us in our dying moments. Take your work. We think we're irreplaceable in work. But if you leave, you might be there for many years. If you leave, they will replace you in a second. There may be colleagues who might pass away within their service, and after a while, they might be just a fleeting memory. Because like they say, life carries on. And as loving as we might be to one another, the Guru says, do all your responsibilities. Love one another, care for one another, have every single interaction that you need to have, and know that one day all of these are going to end. And for that reason, they've said that this interaction is false, because it won't last forever. And all these experiences that we're looking for are simply linked and rooted in the needs of this body alone, the senses of this body alone. We then allow ourselves to be pulled down by this world, by the negative emotions, that resentment, that bitterness, that anger. These frustrations and emotions then recreate themselves in our reality. These thoughts based on negativity and rooted in this illusion of Maya are imprinted on our soul. Kar kar karna likh le jao. Again and again, these are printed on our soul, and they replay later on, throughout this life and the next. And for generations, we've been traveling on this external journey. We've been traveling, we've arrived at many different stations along this journey, but the internal one we haven't started. Sangat Ji, even those that practice faith traditions sadly get lost in the external and not the internal. They're worried about the doctrines, they're worried about doing things in a certain way, they're worried about how they look, they're always looking at everybody else's practice and not their own. Getting lost in the technicalities of things, getting involved in discussions what they think are spiritual but they're not. You could be talking something about something's happened in a faith-based community, for example, and that will quickly turn into a slander, a deception, what we call as nindya, or something that's just going to take you away from your spiritual journey. These interactions, these limited interactions, is what the Guru has said are just transactional prayers. They're business-like. But where we look at this world, when we look at this divine and worship for the divine's sake, when we ask for the Guru from the Guru, Babaji would say, ask the Guru from the Guru, meaning you just want to be with them. Oha Prem Puri, you just want your divine. Nothing else will satisfy that craving, that need. When you get to that point, that's when your prayer is devotional and not transactional. As the Guru Granth Sahib Ji has told us, Kahe re ban ko jan jai, sarv nivasi sada le pato hi sang samai. Why do you travel here and there? Why do you go into the forests, into the caves? Why are you trying to find the divine in the illusion in Maya? When the divine lives in each and every one of us, they might be hidden, but they're in each and every one of us. Just like fragrances in a flower, just like your reflections in a mirror, the divine is sitting silently deep within us all. We just need to search for them in the deep recesses of our soul. And when we search for the divine, we find that they're in our own home, here. But despite us calling ourselves spiritualists, there are only very rare seekers who actually start this internal journey and actually get to their home. The rest of us stay on the outside, looking for the divine in the physical. And it's for these reasons, Sangat Ji, that we've been absconded from our true home. We're separated from our true family. So who is this true family that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us about? In our life, we generally know who our parents are. We generally know who's looking after us, how we were raised. We know who our friends are. We know who our siblings are. We know where we live. But our true family, our true home, is a bit of a mystery. Let us now examine the beautiful lines of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who explain how we develop that relationship with that true divine family. But before we do this, let's travel back and examine the happenings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's life in order to give this discourse some further context. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's divinity was being recognized by one and all. Anyone who came in contact with Guru Nanak was immediately transformed into a life of devotion. Guru Nanak jin sunya pekhya se fir gar baas na pariyare. Whoever saw Guru Nanak, whoever listened to Guru Nanak's words, they never came back into this form of reincarnation again. This is what the Gurbani told us. Guru Nanak Dev Ji were actively engaging and spreading that message of the one divine to all corners of this world. And in order to do this, Guru Nanak Dev Ji set on 4 long excursions which are termed as udasis. We come to the time, Sangat Ji, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji were planning to leave their home for a 3rd time with their companions. And when we say Guru Nanak Dev Ji will leave home, sometimes it will be for 12 years, 10 years, 14 years, 8 years. a significant amount of time. And every single time they would leave, this would generate such an intense longing amongst the Sangat. Those that had fallen in love with Guru Nanak. No one would know how long Guru Nanak would be away for this time. Many years would pass without Guru Nanak Dev Ji being in their physical presence. And whereas the Guru's presence was always felt whenever they remembered the Guru, when they focused on the Shabad, the Guru was there. The physical presence of the Guru was again about to leave them for a third time. And it was at this point, Sangat Ji, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji's blessed mother, Mata Tripta Ji, stood in front of Guru Nanak. Mata Tripta Ji knew that their son was divine. And often, Guru Nanak Dev Ji and their mother, Mata Tripta Ji, would have a spiritual conversation. And Guruji would bless her with wisdom and understanding. And this was right from childhood. What Guruji would do is that they would engage themselves in a worldly conversation, provide some worldly examples so that everybody could understand. But in that was a divine inspiration, a divine understanding. And one of these conversations, one such conversation has been caught in the scriptures in the Guru Granth Sahib. And it's through this Saki that we will explain this now. So Mataji stopped Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and alongside her were Guruji's wife, Mata Sulakshmi Ji, and Guruji's children, two sons, Baba Siri Chand and Baba Lakshmi Das. And she said, "Son, Nanak, Guruji, you are leaving for a third time. You have a family, you're a householder, you have responsibilities. I understand you're doing the work of the divine, but what of your family here? Why are they not traveling with you?" Guru Nanak Dev Ji smiled and replied, Mataji, wherever I go, my family are always with me. My family always travel with me. Mataji said, Guru Nanak, son, I've never traveled with you. Your father, Pita Kalyan Das, Pita Kalu Ji, they've never traveled with you. Your wife, Mata Sulakshmi Ji, your sons, Baba Siri Chand, Baba Lakshmi Das, they've never traveled with you. What family are you speaking of? Guru Nanak Dev Ji were the embodiment of truth. So when they were answering in these ways, it was surprising to everybody. Everybody observing this discussion were really perplexed about what was happening here. Mataji then continued, their mother continued and said, Nanak, son, could it not be that when you travel, you simply take our memory with you? And that's when you say that we're with you always. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, Mother, Mataji, there's an element of this. But the vastness, the depth of my statement, you've still not understood yet. Wherever I go, my family goes with me. Wherever I go, my father travels with me. My mother travels with me. My wife travels with me. My in-laws travel with me. My children travel with me. Mataji, with folded hands, realized she was being imparted with some spiritual wisdom here. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji was going to bless her into the depths of her soul. Guru Nanak Dev Ji then blessed their mother, Mata Tripta Ji, and the Sangat with the understanding of who our eternal family is. And in imparting this understanding, they connected many, many souls to the Supreme Soul, the Divine. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's words are captured in these sacred verses. Gaudi Mahalla Pahla Mata Mat Pita Santokh Sat Pai Kar Eo Visek Kehna hai kich kehn na jaye To Kudrat Keemat nahi paaye Rahao Sarm Surat Doi Sasur Pe Karni Kaman Kar Man Le Saha Sanjog Vyaho Vijog Sach Santat Kaho Nanak Jog Saha sanjog vyaho vijog, saj santat kaho Nanak jog. Guru Nanak Dev Ji answered their mother, Mata ji, Mata Mata Pita Santokh. That disciplined life that I lead, Mata. You know those thoughts that are rooted in higher consciousness? Those actions and thoughts that have a foundation of love, a foundation of forgiveness, that spiritual attitude that stays away from criticizing and judging others, that spiritual attitude that favors love over fear, that has no hatred, that sees all as a friend and no one as a stranger, that spiritual attitude and those virtues that subdue the 5 thieves of lust, greed, anger, attachment, and this false pride, that attitude that stops and protects me from any wrong thinking and wrongdoing. Mataji, Mother, these attributes are my mother. And that wisdom, that mother travels with me always. That sweetness and that love that I've received from you, my mother, are the high virtues and attributes that are always with me. If we pause there for a second, Sangaji, just as a person can be sometimes estranged from their family, when we discard our higher thinking, when we discard our higher purpose, we are also estranged from our divine family. When we're not walking in line with the virtues of the divine, we're not following what the Guru has called as hukam. When we're not following this natural way of the higher virtues of the divine, we're not following their bana, their hukam. And in that, we are homeless. Guru Nanak says that a true orphan is one who is totally disconnected with their origin, and their source and their sense of purpose and their identities can be completely lost. It's for this reason Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us to never discard those higher attributes and travel with this mother always. Mataji said, I understand, son, but what of your father? And that's when they said, Pita Santokh. Santokh meaning contentment, Pita means father. My mind has been completely won over by the divine, Guruji says. I've fallen totally in love with the divine, I care for nothing else. I've got to the state that regardless of whether I'm in physical happiness or hardship, my mind is totally fixed on the divine. I've become one with the divine and everybody around me is one. I'm not running after fleeting desires or experiences, nor do I crave those pleasures that are fleeting, nor am I affected by any pain. My consciousness remains completely stable in all situations. I've become completely still. And it's my Father that's blessed me with this courage and this strength and this contentment, and it's this that I travel with. Sangaji, a state of contentment is achieved when this mind is free from these worldly desires. When the mind is not affected by the 3 modes of Maya, the Rajgun, Tamgun, Satgun. This is where the mind is not subdued with its laziness and is not in a dull existence of complete inertia or no movement. It's not consumed by desires. It's not consumed by self-centeredness that plague our contented mind. A contented mind is not attacked by greed. The only thirst of the spiritualist is to go deeper and deeper in the divine's ocean. A contented spiritualist has no worry about their body. They know that the divine provides to everyone in every moment. And their whole life is just a dedication, is in service to the divine. Whether this means pain or pleasure, it means nothing to them. They accept the grace of the divine. Guru Nanak was explaining here that through these blessings, their father of contentment also travels with them. The scriptures have informed us that those who don't find this true contentment will never be happy. We often see those householders who have absolutely everything. The nice cars, the nice clothes, the good food to eat. Yet the people in that household cannot stand to be sitting with one another. They cannot even maintain a conversation without it quickly turning into an argument. And if we look far and wide, we see that every household is infected by this Maya, this illusion. Each household is burning with this very same flame of desires, of anger, of anguish, Trishna. We often ask for one thing or another from the divine. If only I had that job, that relationship, that car, if only, if only, if only. Our lists are endless. And because we're still attached to this body, Sangatji, those lists, those demands will not end. We think we amass all these things and we'll be contented. No. Guru Nanak told us in Japji Sahib that your hunger will not be appeased, doesn't matter how much you consume. The amazing thing is that the divine provides to everybody, whether we remember him or not, whether we're spiritual or not, whether we're an atheist or a believer. No, the divine provides to everyone. We all have houses, we all have nice cars, we all drive, we all get to work, we all have all opportunities in life at different times. People who are religious or not religious all end up in relationships or interactions or find people in the world to link with. They all move along in this physical plane. No one is left without, because the divine cares for absolutely everyone. But when we keep on asking for these infinite wants, all we're doing is trapping ourselves in this material world. These infinite wants, these infinite desires are restricting our soul from achieving our true potential. And this is the difference between someone who's a spiritualist and that one is totally caught in Maya. The spiritualist will be completely thankful for each interaction that they have. They see each and every moment as a gift. They see each and every moment as a blessing, and they're contented. These are the true spiritualists that I'm talking about, that have risen above the physical needs of the world. And all they do is long for the divine itself. But a person who's rooted in Maya, who's still rooted to the body, who still perceives things through the senses of the body, they're the ones who still see that or think that they can do something with their own efforts. And as a result, they develop this full sense of attachment to the material world. And that's really hard to shake off and causes our increasing pains and suffering. Baba Jaswant Singh Ji will say, do not get lost in the how and why. Do not think about the process, just do it. The how and why will keep us rooted in the Maya. But the positive actions to meditate, to serve, to love, these are us knocking on the door of the divine. And as the spiritualists have told us, as the scriptures have told us, as Bhai Sabji's told us, make thankfulness your prayer. Guru Nanak is saying, make thankfulness your meditation. Look around you. There's nothing that the divine will not provide. As the scriptures sing, so Satguru Pyar and mere naal hai. My divine is always with me. Guru mere sang sada hai naal. The Guru is always with me wherever I go, wherever I do. And it's this understanding that Guru Nanak is saying has made my mind contented. I've come to realize that this contentment is my true Father, who's always providing, who's always protecting, who's my sense of strength and courage. And this contentment is always with me. Returning to the Saki, Mata Tripta Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's blessed mother says, son, I understand. I understand that your mother and father that you're speaking of, I understand they're traveling with you, but what about your wife? How does she travel with you? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji answers, Karni kaman kar manale. Oh Mataji, my mother, my spouse is that love and devotion to the divine. That spouse is more beautiful than beauty itself. That spouse is more supportive than any interaction of this world. Our spiritual practice, our meditation, our daily routine, our meditation, our coming into the Sangat. This is what I'm wedded to, Guru Nanak is saying. It's what my heart has fallen in love with. And in that house where the spouse of devotion comes to live, what else does that house need? In that meditation, in that love of the divine, my mind is completely melted. And it's this spouse that travels with me. Mataji follows. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, I understand what you're saying. But you also have other responsibilities and other interactions. Your wife has parents. You have in-laws that you have a connection with. What of their relationship? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Sarma Surat Advai Sasurupe. Yes, Mataji. Even on this journey, I also take my in-laws with me too. My whole extended family also travel with me. Who are they? Guru Nanak Dev Ji responds, they are modesty, they are humility. They are that one point in meditation where we come into the present of the Shabad, in the present of the word of the divine, whether that's the Quran, whether that's the Bible, whether that's the Torah, whether it's the sutras, whether it's the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is being in the present of that vibration of the Shabad. The spiritual and physical efforts we put in our work, underpinned by that honesty, that's my father-in-law that travels with me, Guru Nanak says. Guru Nanak advises that when we develop that spiritual practice of honesty, when we put that effort to realize the divine, when we take those active steps to come into the Sath Sangat, and then when we come into the Sath Sangat, when we reflect on those messages of the Sangat and practice those in our daily lives, when we take those active steps to involve the mind, not just this body, when we involve the mind in this devotion, and then when that mind eventually settles in the presence of the Shabad, these are the in-laws I take with me on this journey. And so when we come into the Sangat, we arrive with that humility. We come with that mindset, you know what, that we need to change. We come here to have an experience. We leave behind the previous programming that hasn't worked for us. All those interactions that have been rooted in previous illusions, plagued by the thieves. We replace those with our higher values, our higher virtues, with that path of contentment, with that meditation practice. And in this, we then subdue this ego. And through these stages, Sangatji, we travel with these in-laws of humility and modesty. Mataji then said with more love, I understand about your mother and father. I understand about your in-laws, or your wife. But as per ancient customs, these marriages are arranged. Who arranged this wedding of yours that you're speaking of, this spiritual wedding? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Saha Sanjoga Vyaho Joga. Oh Mataji, this was all arranged in the Sath Sangat. If we want to have a relationship with the divine, we find that relationship through the Sath Sangat. It's the Sath Sangat, the Sangat of the holy, the pious, that will act as our connection, that union with the divine. And this Sangat is my union where this divine love is intensified. It is this union that will always travel with me. In the Sangat, I came to learn that all other efforts were false. I came to learn that all other relationships were false and temporary. I came to learn that the divine cannot be won over by this material world, or by mere words, or just mere gestures. This divine is won over by innocent love, by devotion. And that through this Sangat, I had the courage to stay away from those temptations. Through the Sangat, I stopped looking for the comfort in other people's arms. Once I stopped these thieves attacking my precious home, I was married to this devotion, I was married to this divine. Mataji, now understanding the union of the Sath Sangat, understanding that this union was blessed in the Sath Sangat, with even more love, she asks, but what about your children? And here Guru Nanak Dev Ji then with a warm smile answers, Sach Santat Kaho Nanak Jog. Guru Nanak has said, this union has blessed me with heavenly children, divine children, blessed children. The world gives birth when we celebrate our children. But as a result of this devotion, as a result of these spiritual efforts, the name of the divine has taken birth in my heart. The Shabad has taken light in my heart. And when we experience this, we're giving birth to the name of the divine. when we travel on this path of the divine, when we are living, naturally focusing on the divine, that fragrance spreads to everybody around us. In that, we start planting the seed of divinity into others as well. Just like water is present in the ground, the divine was within us all. Just like fire is in wood, all we need to do is to activate it. We need someone to put that effort to light that fire. And in this way, the pious souls, the countless masters, that Sath Sangat, inspire us to bring the divine into our life. And through that practice, we associate with the Sath Sangat. We realize who the divine is. These are the children, Guru Nanak saying, I take with me on this journey. In here, Guru Nanak Dev Ji has blessed us and in our understanding of who our false relationships are. They encourage us to find that spiritual true friend, that preordained soul, the one who will carry us over this world ocean. Others will leave us whilst we're still living, but that true soul, that spiritual friend will be here when our world journey ends, in our last moments. Guruji informs us that we will become truthful when we come into the Sath Sangat, when we adopt these spiritual attributes in our life. We will achieve this one-pointedness, where we are present in the Shabad, when we'll give rise to our contentment in our life. Our reverence will turn into devotion. That devotion will then turn into our knowledge and our awakening. And from that awakening, we'll come to that liberation, where we finally achieve the divine, where we've surely arrived back to our true home. So with these words, Sangatji, thank you so much for your time today. Let's focus on our internal journey. Let's take those small steps to realize who and what we really are, so we can all travel together back to our true home. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.